Okay, we're live, we're recording. Okay, we go ahead and start.
Okay, welcome everyone to the June 15th meeting of the Sag Harbor Zoning Board of Appeals. If everyone would stand, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Could I get a motion to open this June 15th meeting?
So moved.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Second motion would be, could I get a motion to approve the minutes of the May 18th meeting?
I so move.
Who was that, Scott and then Ham?
Yes.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, a general announcement for the public, which we've been doing recently because we've been having a lot of adjournments. I'm going to read off a list of 6 existing applications and 1 new one that are being adjourned. As each one comes up, I'll ask for a formal motion, but if somebody's tuning in for one of these, they won't come up tonight. So here are the 6: 110 Division Street, 24 Riceham Street, 31 Long Island Avenue, 41 Main Street, 34 High Street, 63 Main Street, and among our new applications, 70 Glover will also be adjourned. Okay, moving on to our existing ongoing applications. The first one is 7 Cadmus Road. Is there anyone, we don't have to open that. Is there anyone here to speak to that?
Yes.
I'm going to recuse myself.
Okay.
This is Will Goethe. I'm the architect for 7 Cadmus.
Right.
And I'm Todd O'Donnell, the owner of 7 Cadmus.
Okay, have you both been sworn in?
No.
The architect has, but as the owner?
Yes.
I have not been.
Okay, could you raise your right hand, please?
Yeah, let me do my video too.
Do you sort of tell the whole truth? Nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Okay, please proceed.
Yes. So where we left off last time we were on the meeting, there was a discrepancy with the because we're a corner lot. There's a discrepancy with the rear yard or the side yard setback. That was clarified. We met with the building inspector and clarified that setback. The application was amended to include that adjusted setback, and we moved the pool so that it's further away from that property line and conforming with the setback. Everything else in the application remains though.
Okay, we did not get a revised survey showing any dimensions. I see the plans, but there are no dimensions on them in terms of the setbacks.
I believe a survey was issued.
Scott, did you get a survey?
I did not get a new survey with the new plans, no.
Right.
There's a site plan, but we would need a survey.
I mean, I think we can still have a discussion, but before we could actually confirm all of this and have a vote, we need a survey that's got the dimensions on it, the setbacks. You understand what I'm saying?
Of course, yes. I thought that it was distributed.
Well, if you have it, then it should be a simple matter to get it to us and we can go through this tonight.
I'm just looking to see if I have it to bring it up. Will, is it the something that would have been sent to our building inspector that was requested? Was it May 17th?
That date sounds correct, yes.
Updated. Okay, hold on a minute.
So we never got anything from the building inspector indicating the results of your meeting with him.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we have, Carrie.
This is what you have?
Yeah.
This is the most updated thing that I have.
Yes, that's correct.
That's not a
But-
survey though.
Not that it's a survey, that's the correct drawing though.
Okay, hold on. Let's see.
Maybe what we could do also, because it's a little confusing, what are the variances required now? Because it's changed quite dramatically.
Well, I had asked us to get a new turn down letter, but we didn't get it. But Scott, don't you think that because of the relocation of the pool, that all of the variances in that first part that have to do with the pool, retaining wall, walkway, all of that has gone
I think
away?
they all go away. The only thing that I see is that part of the patio extends into the rear yard setback for an accessory, which is 10 feet. And we don't know, from the site drawing how close it is.
Right, so that area is an existing patio that's proposed to be replaced. The main area for variance that we're seeking is the egress that extends into that front yard. That is mainly just to make the bedrooms on the main level, the basement level conforming.
Will, do you have the most updated survey? Maybe you want to share your screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to track it down myself.
Okay, sorry.
It's fine. But to answer your question, that is the only area in which we're seeking a variance.
If it's
Everything else would be to replace in kind.
so, so the rear yard violation is existing. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Well, for the full length of that, the
It's this,
patio go.
it's the one corner of it.
There's a corner, yes, but then there's a whole extent of pavers that runs from there to 10 foot within the other to within 10 feet of the other rear property line. It's like a trapezoidal wedge, a very long.
Yeah, that's intended to be permeable surface, that area there.
It's-
It's not
but it's-
intended to be hardscape.
So but permeable has to be gravel or grass. That
Uh,
otherwise it's coverage.
That's correct. It's proposed to be gravel, pebbles.
Okay. So that's not a variance
That's correct.
required. That doesn't require variance. And okay.
I don't even know what area you're talking about on these plans.
Well, if you maybe Carrie could bring up the page A010, because that does have some dimensions on it.
Well, look, we're not going to be able to have a real vote tonight anyway without the survey. But the way I'm looking at this, there are no variances required for the pool. Is that what the building inspector said?
That's correct.
And I wish we had heard that directly from the building inspector, but we'll make inquiries for the next meeting. So
Okay.
the remaining variances are in part 2, the retaining wall, the egress ladders, the basement entrance.
Tim, I have a email correspondence from Jim regarding that. I think I can find it. I think it went to the homeowner.
Maybe we need to sit with our new building inspector and try to work out a better.
I guess what I don't understand is walkways. Normally, walks do not need variances, correct, Liz? Walks are excluded, driveways and walks. I don't understand why there's a walk that needs a variance.
Correct.
The walkway, I believe, is referring to these walkouts that you have from the basement that are serving as egress from those rooms.
Well, we have a reference to a 76-foot long walkway. Normally,
A 3 foot, yeah, 3 foot wide by
does not
70.
require a variance.
Right.
Really
Are
needed
they
a new turn down
stairways?
ladder on this
Are they
list. What we-
stairway entrances? Is that why? To the basement?
Well, those are not walkways, though. What we're referring to is a 3-foot wide by 76-foot long walk. And that, I mean, walks
Doesn't
are
require variance, so.
right. And I don't know where the walk is that it's referring to.
Let's see.
Yeah, there's not a walkway on the application. There's only egress out.
Right.
Liz, the turn down letter that we have is defective. It's not really something we can operate off of.
No, I mean, they need to submit their new survey and have the building
No,
inspector.
But
read it.
I would like to give them some feedback so that we're not endlessly delaying this. And that feedback would be that I think I speak for the board and we can have a discussion, but if the variances for the pool are going away because it's been relocated and the only variances that are left are setbacks to the basement access, if that is correct, they're fairly minimal, and it's likely that those would be fine and we would okay those, in my opinion. Does anybody else on the board want to?
So the basement access, those boxes really don't stick. I'm just looking at an elevation. I guess the most one of them sticks out of the ground is like 18 inches. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
The one closest to the corner doesn't project very much at all. The other one does. That could be adjusted, correct? If you, I mean, I know you made them both the same height, but they could actually follow the grade, correct?
Technically they could, yes. So that right now they're at the same elevation and then the grade
Right.
slopes down.
Okay, any other comments from the board? Comments, questions?
I'm sort of, I mean, the pool, I believe, is in a conforming location now. I mean,
Right.
unless the building inspector says something otherwise, but I mean, I'm sort of fine with this now. It's
Yeah, we just need all of this confirmed, a new turn down letter and a new survey. I'm just trying to give the applicant, some indication that it's my sense that if all of this is as it appears, that the board is probably okay with granting these variances. This is not a vote, it's not official. It's just an indication. Is there anyone else on the board that has a problem with that or disagrees with it? Okay, I guess not. Does the applicant want to make any other comments or anything else? Otherwise, I'm going to ask to adjourn this to the next meeting.
Yeah, no, I'd just say with egresses, it's not a design feature. So keeping it, as minimal visually from the street is our intention.
Okay. So can you include that in the survey then?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so could I get a motion to adjourn 7 Cadmus Road until our next meeting?
I so move.
Second, please. Could I get a second?
Somebody second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you very much.
And for
Thank
the
you.
record, our next meeting is July 20th.
Thank you.
All right, the next one is 11 Washington Street.
Good evening, board members. Laura Tuman on behalf of the homeowner.
Okay, hello.
Nice to see you all again. We are here. This is technically our third visit, our second official public hearing. I am here tonight to renew and reinstate our original request for a 10 by 24 foot patio in the backyard. I'm sure you all remember the application. It's the third time you're hearing it. Is a patio, which is currently a pebble patio, and the homeowner is looking to turn the existing patio into a bluestone patio and would require variances to do such. We believe that it is a minimal relief requested as 6.36 foot setback where 10 feet is required. So it's a 3.7 foot relief requested. And then on lot coverage, 25 is required, and the patio would put us at 28. Again, we are proposing the patio to remain the same size as it is in order to minimize any sort of disturbance to the property, the lot, and also to the neighborhood as well. Less work going on the property. This is the third public hearing now, third meeting. We have had no opposition from any of the neighbors at all. And we were able to kind of pull some variances for pools and pool patios where actually additional, more relief was granted. And I'm happy to mention those 5 this evening to go through some of those over the last two years or so.
Could I stop you for a minute?
Of course.
The last meeting, you agreed to reduce the size, and we gave you an indication if you were to do that, that the board would not have a problem with it, and you were going to come back with a revised survey. So could you comment on that?
Of course, right. So initially the board asked us to look at an alternative location for the patio. We did look at that, and we did go through that alternative as proposed by the board, and we determined it was not a feasible option. We did have some discussion at the last board meeting, but at this point in time, it is not an option that is feasible or
Well, you changed your mind, because it wasn't just a discussion. It was an agreement.
No, I think you're talking about two different things, though. You're talking about putting the pool patio at the applicant is talking about putting the pool at the end of the pool. We had talked about a compromise where the patio was 8 feet wide instead of 10. And we had sort of agreed that if you came back with a survey that indicated 8, I think it was 8 by 22. I can't remember what was in the minutes, that we would approve that.
That's what I'm talking about, Scott. Exactly.
Yes. No, I know, but I think she's talking about a different thing.
I know.
Right, so there are two things, correct. So I just wanted to renew the fact and just remind the board that we did look at a separate alternative as well, which was not doable or feasible due to the slope of the property in the back of the yard. There was discussion at the last board meeting that perhaps a smaller size would be looked at favorably by the board, but at this point in time, it is not we are going and asking for the relief as initially requested.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure that we understood correctly, because we thought we had an agreement at the last meeting, and it looks like we don't. So are there any questions from the board? And I'll just turn to the public and see if there are any questions there, if there aren't. Okay, any questions from the public or comments on a patio for 11 Washington Avenue? Okay, I guess there's no one out there. So I would just ask for a motion then to close the public hearing.
So is it possible for me to mention the 5 patios where more relief was actually granted than is being requested on this application? Can I enter that into the record?
Well, I would be, if there are these, we would be curious to know what they are, because I don't remember one exactly in this condition. So we want to see what they were.
Also, just for the applicant, one of the things that we do, each of these situations is unique. So if we have those comparisons that you're making, we wouldn't be able to react to them tonight. We would go back and look in the record and see what distinguishes those from this one. We thought that it was relatively easy, and it's in line with one of our responsibilities, which is to work with an applicant to see if there's another way to design something so that either no variance is required or the variance is reduced. So we had something that we thought was workable that would do away with the variance. That wasn't acceptable to the applicant. So then we had another suggestion that would reduce it. So if you, what I would really ask you to do is submit those, because I don't think we're going to be able to react to them off the top of our head, because each situation is unique.
We'd have to see the surveys.
In other words, there are other solutions for this property that we're talking about right now. There might not have been any other solution for those others, and for other reasons as well, we would really need to look into them. Normally when applicants have comparables, they submit them as part of the application.
Sure. And I understand that every site has its own constraints and own issues and different conditions that they're working under. And I totally understand. What I was suggesting is that the relief here that is being requested is minimal and in line and less than typical side yard relief, which in some examples I've pulled up was between 4.9 to 7.6 feet of relief. So I was, I'm happy to submit those.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of up to you how long you want this to extend. I think the board indicated at the last meeting that we think that this variance can be easily reduced. It's perfectly understandable if the applicant disagrees with that. But if you want it, you made a comment that we're now in our third meeting. If you want to wind this up, go back to the compromise that you agreed to at our last meeting, and that'll wind it up. But if you want to proceed with it, submit those comparables, and we'll go over them. And if we think that they're exactly the same and that we've made a mistake here, that'll give us pause. But if we look at them and we think there are significant differences between each of those and this one, where those could not be corrected, and in our opinion, this one can, then it's just going to take you another month or two to get this through. It's what should be a very simple, application. And you're right in thinking that why is this taking 3 months? It shouldn't.
I do.
It's the applicant's problem that it's taking so long, in my opinion. So what would you like us to do?
I believe the homeowner is on the. It may be on the call, and I would ask. I believe we are anxious to get this wrapped up. Scott, if you want to.
Yeah, sure. Look, I am absolutely anxious to get it wrapped up. What I would like to do is have it. I don't know if there's any way to do this, but is there any way to give a more formal indication that the original proposal would not be acceptable? Because I think the compromise is something that's interesting to pursue, but I've made a commitment to go after the full patio to start, and unfortunately, to honor the commitment I've made, I need to make sure and have a formal indication that the board would not approve it. So we've got some potential evidence that that perhaps what we've applied for initially could be approved. But then again, I also don't want to see this drag out for too long. I understand you can't review that on the spot. So that's the position that I'm stuck in at the moment.
Liz?
Just so I can understand, you are the homeowner or you're representing the homeowner?
I am the homeowner.
Scott is the homeowner.
Yeah, so I think the board gave very clear feedback. I don't know why you're seeking something more. I think it's pretty evident what they were saying.
Why don't you reduce the width to 8 feet, which is what you agreed to last month? And last month, we gave you an indication that that would be acceptable to us, and you were going to come back with a revised survey, and now you've had a change of heart.
Which is fine, but then if that's the case, then you have to make the case why we should grant the variance in this instance. And I think Laura submitting those 5 examples would be the next step.
Yeah, understood. Appreciate your patience with this matter.
I think those are the only 2 choices. Either submit the examples and we'll review them, or move to the compromise solution.
Right. If we want to prolong this, we'll be prolonging it for another 2 meetings essentially, because we would continue the public hearing in July. And then with a formal decision, at the soonest would be in August. Is that correct in terms of scheduling?
We could have not a written decision, but a formal indication from the board, what we call a straw vote at the next meeting if we had the materials.
Yeah.
And then we would have a decision from within 30 to 60 days, a written decision after that, but you would have your indication of what you can do or not do. If you would come back with a survey with the 8-foot wide thing tonight, that would be the end of it.
Can I ask this? If you guys do a straw vote at the next meeting, let's say Laura submits the additional supporting documentation, is it possible for you guys to do a straw vote on the full solution, however you feel about it? And then depending on the outcome of the straw vote, would we be able to put a compromise back on the table?
No, we would have closed the public hearing and you would have to come back with a new application, right, Liz?
Well, you'd have to ask for it to be reopened and all the board members would have to vote in favor
Yeah,
of it.
well, we could probably do that, but you know, we don't really like it that you're dragging this on as long as you are either. We're really busy. We have a huge backlog. This should be really simple. If you're not willing to reduce it to 8 feet, then submit your 5 examples and we'll go on. We don't think that the 2 feet should be that big a deal. You may be wondering why it's that big a deal to us, but it's part of our responsibility that if it seems easy on the surface to us to reduce a variance, that's part of our job.
No, understood.
Understood.
Apologies if it wastes any of your time. Unfortunately, I've made a commitment to go after the full thing. I realize that that sounds a bit strange given the advice that you're giving back. And believe me, I'm not thrilled about it either.
But our advice hasn't changed. You're making the change and we are not. We gave you specific
That's right.
recommendations
Fully
and then you
understand.
came back. And I think it's unfair that you keep on doing this.
You know, you guys, I feel like we're belaboring this. You
All right.
guys have the choice in front of you. It's a quick decision. Either go with the 8 feet or come back with the 5 samples and let's move.
Correct. Yeah. Which one do you want to do?
I think unfortunately, we're gonna have to submit the additional documentation. And again, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's
It's
fine.
not,
All right. Just be sure to get it to us so we have time to go over it before the next.
Of course. And can that just be done in a memo to Carrie?
Yes.
But we need it because then we have to go into our records and pull out what those situations were.
Of course.
and look at it. Okay, so based on that, you're gonna get us within, say, a week or so, those 5 things, get them to Carrie, those 5 comparables, and then we'll pull them out and look at them.
Tim, did you close the public hearing or are you keeping it open?
I'm gonna
It's
keep it
open.
open. So could I get a motion to adjourn 11 Washington Street until the next meeting? And
So move.
Second,
all in favor? Aye.
aye.
Okay, thank you.
Next meeting is
you.
July 20th.
Carrie, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you do me a favor and send me the current agenda? It wasn't in my packet, so I'm having trouble following along. Just email it to me. I can print it out here.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, it wasn't in the packet.
It wasn't in the packet. It
You had to
hasn't been
print
in the
it out.
packet.
It came out yesterday, I think. You would have had to print it out. So the next one, 110 Division Street. Can I get a motion to adjourn 110 Division to the next meeting?
So move.
I second,
All in favor? Aye.
aye.
24 Rysam Street. Could I get a motion to adjourn till the next meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second,
All in favor? Aye. 31 Long Island Avenue, same thing. Could I get a motion to adjourn to the next meeting?
So moved.
so move,
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 60 Hempstead Street. Carrie, do we have somebody to speak to 60 Hempstead?
Dennis Downs is here, I believe.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Downs. Yes.
Am I unmuted? Thank you. Mr. Chairman, the last time this case was on, there was a question as to whether or not the Architectural Review Board would be in favor of what we were requesting. We've been to them. They sent it to a 2-man panel. The 2-man panel came back and said that they had no objection to the deck on the back of the house. So what it boils down to is a lot coverage, and we submitted revised surveys showing that we brought it down to 1% over the 25%. And I think one or more members have been to the house to see that this deck was started without a permit and then there was a stop work order, and then they came to the zoning board of appeals. So you can see exactly what you're going to get, with the exception of the rails that haven't been put up.
So, so you took away the patio. That's what reduced the coverage, right?
Yes, we reduced the coverage by removing all the patios.
And so what would be the coverage now? I'm sorry, I know you said it's.
I think it's like 26% or 25.9%, very small. It's under 26. There should be a survey from Hemmer with that number on it.
Yeah, I don't have one, but it doesn't mean that there wasn't one.
Oh.
Dennis, we haven't gotten anything since the original application. The ZBA. We don't switch stuff from ARB to ZBA, so you would have to.
All right, that's
submit
probably
it.
the problem. All right, so I owe you 12 surveys of showing lot coverage. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
So, and just to refresh my memory, because I don't, that second story deck thing didn't require anything other than, it's just because of lot coverage, correct? There aren't any side yard setbacks or anything, correct?
Correct. The one neighbor did complain, saying that you
Yeah.
could see down into his yard. However, we submitted photographs to show that that whole side of the property is covered with vegetation where you can't see into his yard. And we also offered to put up a screen right on the deck itself, like I'm losing the words for it right now. It's a
lattice.
It's like a lattice fence with some vegetation growing on it. We would grow the vegetation on our side so you can't see through it. There would be planters on the ground, not on the ground, on the deck.
All right.
My concern is that why was the deck done without a permit? And I think that this is problematic in many instances.
I understand. My client hired a contractor who just ignored it and went and started the work and then was issued a stop work order.
Yeah. This is an ever-going thing, and it kind of annoys me that these things keep on popping up.
Well, you're really not approving it because it was built and you'd have to spend money taking it down. The question is whether or not you would grant it in the first instance.
Exactly.
And like I said, my client did everything right. He wasn't living here at the time. He hired a contractor to build the deck, fully expecting him to comply with the law, and then found out he didn't comply with the law, and of course they got rid of him. He's no longer the contractor on the job. Someone else is going to finish it.
Okay. Well, I think it's very possible that if the lot coverage is really, really minimal, there's a good chance it will be allowed probably. If it's 25.5 instead of 25% or whatever. So get us that survey that indicates that.
I will. I'm sorry. I thought you had it. I'll get it. I'll get it over there tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sorry that we don't. So let's adjourn this to the next meeting and check that survey.
And just to confirm, Dennis, that's the only thing, right? Just the lot coverage on the whole thing, correct?
Yeah. Let me look at the public notice to make sure that we've covered everything else.
Well, I think they agreed to take out the patio, Dennis.
Yes, we're taking out the patio. That was how we reduced the lot coverage.
Yeah. Well, and also there was a side yard setback. It's only 7.6 feet from the side yard where it's required to be 15 feet.
Well, that was the patio though.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the patio's coming out.
Right.
The patio violated it, but the deck did not.
So we want the survey that shows the patio gone.
Okay. And the other thing, I'm looking at the original public notice, there was a 2.3% total vegetation. Instead of being 50%, it was 47.7%. We could probably add more vegetation in the rear yard around the pool.
Board. that wasn't on the turn down letter for the zoning board.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a second. I'm in
Yeah,
the wrong one.
normally
Yeah.
the
Oh,
zoning
check that.
board, we don't.
I'm in
get
the
any
wrong one.
vegetation.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay. So could I get a motion to adjourn 60 Hempstead Street to our next meeting?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor? Aye.
aye.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Thank-
Could I get a motion to adjourn 41?
Who
Main
seconded
Street?
that? Was that Joe?
I did, Scott,
Thank
I
you.
think.
Okay.
I'm going to do 3 adjournments at once. Could I get a motion to adjourn 41 Main Street, 34 High Street, and 63 Main Street? Motion, please.
So move.
Second.
Second,
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
aye.
All right, moving on to new business. New applications. The first one is 6 Rector Street.
That's my case.
Could I get a
Mr.
motion
Chairman.
to open 6 Rector Street?
I so move.
And I think that the architect is here too.
Can I get a second on that to open it?
Second, right here, Alex.
Alex seconds. All in favor? Aye.
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 Who made the motion?
Scott,
Thank
I
you so
think.
much.
Okay, is someone here to speak to 6 Rector Street?
Dennis Downs and the architect's also with me tonight.
Okay, should I swear in the architect, Dennis?
I don't
Yeah.
believe you're gonna, but yeah, let's do it. Just, there may be a
Okay,
question
sure.
or two from the board.
Okay,
Edward Moulter, I work for architect Joshua Jacob, located at 700 Lakeland Avenue,
thank
Suite
you. Could you
2B.
raise your right hand, please?
Excuse me?
Could you raise your right hand, please? I need to swear you in.
Yeah, okay, it's up.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
How do we know he's raising his right hand? Just kidding.
It's true. You
Sorry,
got
I
a
had my
photograph.
camera off. I had my camera
Come
off.
on. There you go.
That's a still photograph. I'm gonna let this one ride, Alex, but thank you.
You're nicer than me.
Okay, please
Okay,
proceed.
all right, so I don't want to repeat everything that I wrote in the application, but I made a very specific project description and variance request and the reasons for the variance. I think the photographs that I emailed to Carrie would be better if it would be better if you looked at those and you'd see exactly what we're trying to do. This is an old house on Rector Street. It's the first house as you turn onto Rector from Route 114. It's basically behind the old Prasan hardware store. So, Kerry, is it possible that you could put the photographs up on the board?
Yep, I'm doing it right now.
It's an unusual piece of property in the sense that it's basically a 3-family house. It's had 3 apartments in it, 1 on each floor. The basement has its own apartment that used to have a door and windows that looked out to the street. And I think at some time in the past, the land in front of the house is all filled in because they backfilled dirt right up against the house, took out the windows and took out the door. And you'll see that as soon as the picture shows up, and you'll see that there's an orange fence there now, plastic orange fence, and a hole behind it where they dug the trench to show where the windows and the door were. And the ARB went over there, and Zach, who's the historian for the ARB, he went in and did an examination. He said, yes, there were windows and doors, 1 door and 2 windows in this building. That's the back of the building. Scary, could you go to the front? It might be number 8, I think.
Yes, hold on. That's the front.
I don't see number 8.
Yep, I don't see number 8 either.
Try number 1. All right, that's the side of the hardware store and the driveway that goes to the back of the building. That's the back of the building again, where the stairs are going to go.
So what do you want, the front?
Try number 7. It might be in reverse order.
No, that's the front.
Yeah, that's what we want, the front.
There you go.
Okay, so where you see that orange plastic fence, right behind that is the stairwell that used to go down to the door and the 2 windows. And if Kerry can go along the side of the house, you'll see the type of window that was there. And if you happen to go to the property and you look at the brick, you can see where the brick was filled in, where the windows were filled in with similar brick. So it's probably going to be, I guess you're going to have to work your way down from to number 2.
Dennis, I think we've all been to the site. We're pretty familiar
Okay.
with it.
All right, so what they're trying to do is restore the property to what it was originally, which was this porch that went across the front of the house where that orange fence was. And it had a roof overhang, very slight roof overhang, similar to the one that's there now. So at some point, they cut back that whole porch, bricked in the door and windows, and then filled the property in. Because as you notice that the driveway is on a sharp grade going down from the street. And then in the back of the house, they're just cleaning it up in the sense that they're fixing a deck and making it a little bit bigger than what it was now. And that's the entrance to the 2nd floor. And then there's also, then on the north side of the rear of the property, there's also a stairway going up to the 3rd floor. And there's a certificate of occupancy on file for all 3 apartments. So the greatest variance is the front yard with the porch. And that would make the house look like it did back in the 1800s.
Right.
And if you do go there, we could uncover the footings for the original porch that was there. They're concrete footings and they're in the ground.
Okay.
And we're going to build off of those. They're going to go right on top of those existing footings.
Yeah.
Harry, is there a photo of the rear of the house again, just to bring up? I was just trying to tell what's new and what's existing and what's. I mean, it was there. I just don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, Scott, if you look at this survey, it'll help you as well. Because it shows proposed stairs, existing stairs, and proposed deck.
I don't know if she has the revised ARB drawings that we submitted. They were color coded and they have all 4 elevations of all 4 proposed elevations.
Probably not if they're in the ARB file.
Yeah, all we have is what's proposed. So the first floor.
If you want to share your screen, Mr. Moulter, you can.
All right, give me a couple seconds and I'll see if I can do that.
So the new deck, the roof deck, is new and it's covering an existing 1-story addition and then also creating more 1-story space, or just no space. It extends over nothing, correct?
Yeah, Ed, I think I can answer that. It's just a roof deck.
Right, it extends.
There's no enclosure. There's no
enclosure, right.
Right.
So you're
We're not increasing square footage of the building.
Right, so you're not adding any 1-story addition or anything. It's just a flat roof deck that's a roof, basically, like a porch.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, across the 2nd floor.
Yeah, gotcha.
You have the elevation, Scott, right?
Yes, it's just hard to tell whether or not there's something filled in there or not, but there's not. So no, yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from the board before we turn to the public?
Right. How can I share my screen? Here we go, share screen. There we go.
Let me stop sharing.
Basic. And can you guys see that drawing elevates all four sides of the house, and it was color coded for the ARB what needed variances and what did not.
We have a print copy of that,
Okay.
but we cannot see it on the screen.
Not on the screen yet.
Yeah, you just have to click it open and then hit share screen on the bottom. All we see is your like folder with all the list of your stuff.
Your sharing screen is paused. Resume share.
And now just click on your folder that you want to open.
Okay. Click on the thing I want to open.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys see that?
No,
Yeah.
all we see is your folder
Not
with
yet.
all of your different named folders.
Isn't that the elevation that we already have?
Yeah, I think we don't. I
don't
think we're
we
good.
need to see it, Mr. Moulter.
Okay.
We all have it in front of us, a print version.
I was just curious about what the existing thing looked like, but I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to see that.
All right, if there's no one else from the board, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to 6 Rector Street?
I don't see anybody's hand up.
Okay. Well, if there are no questions from the board, then could I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
I second.
Scott seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Moulter, what we usually do now is have a discussion among the board and kind of come up with an informal voice vote that gives you an indication of where we are with this, and then we'd have a written decision in 30 to 60 days. So going over the 5 things that we use to judge variances, I don't have a problem with any of them in terms of this myself. Rather than creating an undesirable change, I think it'll create a desirable change, especially to the front of the building, make it look much more historic than it looks now. The deck on the back is well screened from the neighbor next door, who Ham and I actually spoke with. He happened to be out in his yard coincidentally, and he had no problem with it at all. The variances aren't substantial, and I don't think there's another way to achieve what they want to achieve. How's the rest of the board feel about it?
I had no problem with the front of the house. I did have some concern on the proximity to the neighbor, and he had indicated he had no objections, so I have no objections.
Alex?
Yeah, I agree. Tim, you summed it up well. The variances are pretty insignificant, relatively speaking, and it feels like it's going to be a net positive for the neighborhood in terms of the improvements made.
Okay. Joe?
I think it'll be a net positive as well, so I'm in agreement.
Okay. Scott?
Yes, I'm in agreement also.
Okay, then. So could I get a motion then to instruct our attorney to write a favorable decision granting the variances requested for 6 Rector Street?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you, too. I get a motion to open 34 Walker Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, is there someone to speak to 34 Walker Avenue?
Dennis Downs, 34 Main Street, 34 Bay Street, Sag Harbor, New York, attorney for the applicant. I did a rather extensive project description as well as variance request with the 5 points, so I won't go over it. But I do want to speak to the application itself as far as what the applicant is seeking to do. This is to put a modest addition on the rear of the house, and where there would be also a patio with a hot tub on top of it. We provided photographs of the entire home and back and rear yard to show you what everything looked like. Kerry, if you could share the photos with the board, it would probably be helpful. The situation is now that this has always been a summer home, and now it's going to become a permanent home, and they need the extra space.
Plus a hot tub.
And well, yeah, but the hot tub is being put on a deck that's permitted.
No, I'm just teasing. You said they need.
Oh, okay, Alex. I'm
need
sorry.
They need some extra hot tub space.
Yeah, hot tub space is right. The survey does show all the various setbacks that you can have for any kind of structure that you'd like, a pool, but they're not interested in that. They want to use the real lawn for recreation for their grandchildren.
Okay.
So my only question is how, I know that there's a carport off the side. Is that it? Oh, I guess is that the pale dotted gray line on the survey? So we're going a little bit, we're going like 5 feet more closer to the property line than the carport or something like that? 6 feet.
No, we're going to be 15 feet for the for the 15-foot line is that dotted red line, and the carport is slightly inside that. So
okay.
We're 30.7 feet from the screen porch to the west lot line, and the carport takes up 15.7 feet of that. So that doesn't require any variance. That's existing.
No, I'm just wondering, the garage is bigger than the carport.
Correct.
It's like 6 feet, I'm guessing here, based on this dimension. 16.1 to the carport and 10.4 to the garage. Correct. Does that seem correct, Tim? Am I reading that right?
Yeah, the garage is 17 by 24.
The added houses.
But it doesn't need a variance aside from lot coverage.
Well, the garage is a part of the principal structure now.
45 minutes.
Yeah, it's attached to the house.
So it should be 15 feet instead of 10. Is that what you're saying, Scott?
Yeah, right. Is that right, Liz?
Building inspector missed that.
Let me just check the 4/10 rule on this.
Oh, it might be less, right?
Yeah, it might be 10 feet.
It's a 100-foot wide lot, though.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, Liz?
She's looking, I think. You're muted, Liz.
Which one are you talking about, Scott?
Well, I'm talking about the fact the garage is
Oh, you're
attached to the house, so the garage becomes part of the principal structure,
Yes.
and it's only 10 feet from the property line. That's not the setback for a principal structure on the side yard. So there's a variance missing, correct?
I believe you're correct. Let me just look at it again.
Lot under Scott, under 4/10, total side yards would be 40 with none less than 10. So I think we're okay on the garage side.
Okay, well, that was the question. Maybe that's why.
We have 24.8 and looks to me like 16.
Well, the 16 is existing. It'd be 10.4 plus 20 points. So that's 30. What did you say you needed?
I think we only need 10 because 4/10 would be no less than 10 with total of 40. So I may need total side yards if I'm not adding this right.
Right. You may need total side yard because you have 10 plus 20. 10.4 plus 20.4.
I have to do the math on that.
Yeah, I'm 34.8 on total side yards.
And
we
what's
should be
allowed on the
40.
4/10 rule?
And we should be 40.
Yeah, so you,
He's
oh,
in it.
So they're
But the
missing
minimum is 10
for the side yard.
for
It's
the
10,
side yard. So technically that's fine on the side.
but they're missing the total side, the total,
so there's a
missing variance for total side yard.
5.2 foot variance required for total side yard then?
Yes, sir.
I don't have any problem with anything.
I don't either. These seem like de minimis variance.
Yeah, we will have to call it out in the decision, even though it hasn't been called out by the building inspector. I don't have a problem with it either. Any other?
I have no problem. It's basically what he's asking for is conducive to the neighborhood and really no minor changes. So I have no objection.
Yeah, it's just the building inspector and some of us too, when we went there, missed the variance that's needed for total side yard under the 4/10 rule.
And, Mr. Chairman, the other variance was the 400 cubic foot of pyramid.
Right. No, there were other variances. Yeah, I'm just saying
they were minimum.
We think they're minimum. What did you say, Liz? I'm sorry.
That it does need to be renoticed. We have to notice that total side yard relief. That's required.
Well, while we're here, if there are no other questions from the board, let's see if there's anybody from the public that wants to comment on this. Anybody from the public want to speak to 34 Walker Avenue?
Were there any letters?
No. And there's nobody raising their hands.
Okay.
Yes, there were letters. There were letters from both
In favor.
on both sides.
Great. Why don't you get them to us so we have it for our records?
Carrie has them.
If I have,
Okay, that's great. That's great. We can include that in our decision. So unfortunately, we do have this
Let's see.
technicality that we need to put this in the paper again for this total side yard setback of 5.2 feet. I think you're hearing from the board that there's a general consensus that that there isn't going to be a problem in granting these variances. If anybody from the board disagrees with me, please chime in now. But I wanted to give the applicant some kind of feedback.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then, so we'll renotice that. And I'll ask for this to be adjourned until our next meeting, and we should be able to settle the whole thing then. So could I get a motion to adjourn to our next meeting?
So move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry we have to put this off a month, but we'll get it done.
Thank you.
Harry, do you have the date again on July
July 20th.
20th? Thank you.
And I emailed you guys the letters on April 21st.
Oh, okay. I missed
So,
that.
yeah. I mean, you guys didn't have the application yet, but I had them. So, and they're ZBA, so I sent
Okay,
them.
good.
Yep, they're in the file.
Okay, great. We'll be able to include them in our decision. Okay, could I get a motion to open 36 Hamilton Street?
I so
Motion to
move.
open?
I so move.
Second?
So move.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. 36
I
Hamilton.
sent a photo. Did you guys
Yes.
see the photo?
I saw the photo and I called Dennis. This is going to, we're just gonna keep the hearing open. We can open the hearing tonight, but then just keep it open so Dennis can repost it before the next meeting.
I
So
think that was up when I went
cures any
by it. When
defect
I
in
went by it
notice.
over the weekend, that was I think it was stapled to the fence or something.
Oh,
I nailed it to a CCA post that was being used for the future fence.
Yeah,
It appears that when the fence company came,
right,
after I posted it, they must have removed it,
right,
and it wound up in the hedges.
right. We saw that. Yeah, but I was there on Saturday and it was there then. I mean, visible on the post.
Good.
So so let's begin on it anyway. 36 Hamilton Street.
Okay, so this is Dennis Downs, 34 Bay Street, Sag Harbor, New York, attorney for the applicant. You saw this application once before, not what we're trying to do tonight, but this was the one where you combined two houses. They were so close together that he put a little breezeway in between the two and made it into one home. And now what they'd like to do is remove a patio that's in the northwest, it would be the northwest side of the second, I'm going to call it the two-story residence that's to the south. There's a patio back there, and they're going to put a 12 by 18 pool inside the patio and make the patio less. So what they're actually decreasing lot coverage. The brick that they remove from the patio will turn into grass. And I realize we're very close to the boundary lines, but when you look at the photos, if Carrie could put them up, you'll notice that this house sits lower than the house behind it, as well as the house to the southwest of it. And there are giant arborvitaes that are all along the boundary line, so you can't see it. And the house that's to our southwest, they also have a pool that was granted a variance because they couldn't make the 15-foot. The lots are wide, but not deep. And by the time you put the house on it, and these are old homes, there's very little rear yard. And the other thing that they were trying to do is, I think on the survey, it shows that there is a rather large tree. It's at least 3 feet in diameter. The goal was not to have to remove that tree. That would eliminate a side yard variance, but it wouldn't eliminate the rear yard variance.
Well, when you put that pool in, the roots of the tree are going to get killed anyway, most likely.
No, I think we're far enough away from it. At least that's what the arborvitae said, that we shouldn't damage it, but anything, you just don't know. But we're hoping we don't. The goal was to try to preserve that tree.
Okay.
What was the relationship of the septic to the pool?
Good question. I don't see it
the
on the
septic's
survey.
on the other side of
On
the
the other
tree.
side of the backyard. If you look at the survey, it's over there in that gravel area. It's marked on the survey on the opposite end of the backyard from where the pool is proposed.
Okay, yes.
Okay. Other questions from the board?
There's not much room in that backyard for a pool.
No, that's why it's going to take up what is now a patio. You couldn't leave everything there and then add a patio. We'd have too much lot coverage. This is actually going to reduce the lot coverage slightly, a couple of feet, not much.
But you're asking for more than a 50% for the side yard.
Yeah, okay. So that was the first picture you just saw was some of the arborvitaes that's up front near the street, and they go all the way back. If you notice, the stockade fence is almost as high as the trees. That's because the gentleman's land next door is about 3 feet higher than ours. And there's a brick, there's a stone wall.
There can be more than just visual. There's a lot of noise that's associated with pools. That's one of the reasons the setbacks are what they are.
Carrie, could you go through the pictures for me, please?
Yep, I'm trying to get them up now.
Okay, thank you.
Pictures take a while to come up.
I haven't been to the site. I mean, the backyard is very well screened, but the house next door is like right there. I don't know. I just think it's too close to the property line.
You're talking about the yellow house?
Yeah, the one on the
Yeah,
corner.
and he also has a pool that's very close to the boundary line as well. He's right on the other side of those arborvitaes. Where you see that lawn furniture, that's where the pool would go.
Dennis, did you include any information on the setbacks for that pool?
No, but I can provide you with the survey. That'll help you if that helps.
Well, I think we're going to need all we can get because I think these setbacks are too large to be granted as they stand now.
Okay, I can get it for you.
Like
I said, what the pool is going to replace what was a patio, a sitting area.
Yeah, I know, but a pool is different than a patio.
Yeah, no, obviously. But when you have your neighbors all have pools together, so you don't have to worry about the noise factor.
Well,
but I was talking about the
more
property.
pools, the more noise.
I was talking about the property to the well, I guess it's more to the west. The house on the corner, they don't have a pool, but their house is very close to that property line. You're talking about the house behind, correct?
Are you
Where
talking
they
about the
have
one
a
on
pool?
lot number 134,
Yes.
the corner lot?
Yes, their house is very close to the property line. So
Yeah,
really,
my understanding, I haven't seen it, I'll take a picture, but my understanding is there is a pool there, and he got a variance to put it in. And he's close
I
to the lawn.
think I thought we denied that pool.
If there is, it's not this large a variance, but we'll have to look at that.
Okay, I'll get you the survey on that one.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we turn to the public? Okay, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to the application for a pool at 36 Hamilton Street?
There's nobody.
Just for the record, the gentleman across the street, Ray Romano, he saw me when I was doing the posting. He asked me what I was doing, and I told him he had no objection. But he's across the street. He's not next door. I believe there is a letter from the neighbor next door with the yellow house.
Do we have that letter?
If I had it, I'm pretty sure I submitted it, but if not, I will get it.
You know, there's precedent with this. It's more than 50% of what the code calls for. So I think in most
Understood.
cases, we really need to hear some
Yeah,
overwhelming.
but if it wasn't for the fact that it was already an improved portion of the property, I wouldn't have made the application.
Well, we get applications all the time on tiny, tiny lots, and every once in a while we decide that there are some lots left in Sag Harbor that are just too small to squeeze a pool in. This house has a lot going on with it. The village also really went out of their way to grant them something that's sort of never been done with historic houses in terms of putting these two together. Seems like it worked out pretty well, but it's sort of like every square inch of this property has got something going on it. So I think you need to, I'm not seeing, just myself, I'm not seeing some overwhelming reason that meets our 5 tests to grant variances this large.
I think it would be more appropriate to do something more like a hot tub plunge pool that's farther away from the property line. If you have to have a pool. I think the pool's just too big for the property.
The property's too small for the pool.
Or the property is too small for the pool.
All right, anyone else from the board? There's no one from the public out there.
No.
Dennis, do you have what you need from us?
Yes, I'll get you the survey for next month, and I'll address some of those other issues that you did speak about tonight.
And you're going to repost this one.
And I have to repost it, yes.
Thank you.
And I'll put it all in writing and get it to you 2 weeks in advance.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I get a
Thank you,
motion
Mr.
to
Chairman.
adjourn 36 Hamilton Street until our next meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Could I get a motion to open 29 Henry Street?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
29 Henry Street. Is there someone here to speak to 29 Henry? That would be Anthony, correct? Can you unmute yourself, Anthony? Carrie will let you in.
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Good
We gotta
evening.
swear you in, Anthony. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Good evening. Anthony Vermandois, 68 Union Street, representing Blake and Eliza Nolan at 29 Henry Street. So can we screen share?
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Great. All right.
I love when you screen share.
We'll see. I was having some technical difficulties earlier. All right. Is that working?
No, pull it up and then go down and say share screen, and then it will say new share.
There we go. How's that?
Yeah.
The SK1. Yeah.
We can see that. Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so what we've got here is this is basically a second story addition to the rear of an existing two-family house. The addition itself, it's a master bedroom suite that we are proposing. The addition is, just give you the exact dimensions here, 15'6" by 20 feet. And what we're requiring for this is exclusively a pyramid variance. We're not needing a setback variance or a lot coverage variance. It's just pyramid variance. The pyramid variance is just a little bit under 3,000 square feet. Really what's driving up the amount of sky plane relief we need is the terrain of the property. Like many of these properties on the north side of Henry Street, it steeps off, or it drops off very steeply towards the rear. So that means that more of this addition is substantially more of the addition is projecting out of the sky plane than would be the case if it was just a flat property. I actually did a rough calculation. I think we'd be at like 500 cubic feet if this was just a flat property. Just going through the 5 tests here, we would propose that the addition is consistent in scale with other properties nearby. Looking at particular 11 Henry Street and 25 Henry Street, which have those same similar second story additions to the rear of the house and also on the slope property. The house will still be well under the GFA for the property, which would be the 2,500 square foot minimum, and it's under that still. So it will be comparable in scale to other dwellings in the neighborhood. A few are larger, a few are smaller. It's kind of a mix up there on Henry Street. The benefit is that the applicant is seeking is an additional second floor bedroom and bathroom. And really the only feasible way we can do this is to go out the back on the second floor over an existing 1-story addition. Going out to the sides would obviously be, it would be a setback issue. We've made every effort to minimize the size of this. We're just doing 7-foot plate heights on the perimeter. That was really the lowest we could go without interfering with clearances for doors and bathroom fixtures. As I mentioned earlier, the cubic footage that we're requiring here is a little bit larger than what I normally ask for these kind of additions. But as I mentioned, it's entirely due to the terrain of the property and the narrowness of the property that is driving up that number a little bit more than it typically would be. And then, as I noticed, also the overall scale of the house is similar in character to the others in the neighborhood. Bedroom count will remain the same. We're eliminating one bedroom on the first floor, so there will be a net zero increase in the bedroom count. And obviously, as it goes without saying, we'll be bringing up the sanitary system to code compliance. Finally, was it self-created? No, the current homeowners purchased the house in, I believe it was October of last year, or actually, yeah, October of last year, and they've done no work to the property since they've purchased the house. So we're going into this with a clean slate. So that's basically it. If there are any specific questions, let me know.
Questions from the board?
Could you explore making this projection on the second floor narrower to reduce the pyramid somewhat? I know that the like the bathrooms, maybe in the closet could be arranged a little bit to narrow take some cubic footage out of the.
Yeah, I mean, it's Scott, I know what you're saying, and that's typically what I do in this situation, though it is really, really tough. We've got sort of these sort of fixed locations for where the doors can go relative to the existing house and things like that. I mean, the best we could shave off would be maybe a foot at the most, I would think.
Well, I'm having a problem with the precedent setting and granting the total because there's such a large existing pyramid variance.
I mean, for the existing house?
To add it on to, you're already, several thousand feet over, and to add another 2872 to that so that the total cubic feet is 7,395. That's the total variance that's needed.
You think that by just doing a bedroom off the back and trying to incorporate some more of the bathroom stuff into the existing house and maybe eliminating one of the upstairs bathrooms? I know everybody wants to have a bedroom and a bathroom, but maybe this house can't do that. That you could then reduce that pyramid by making that, getting the addition more in the center of the property. That's the only thing I can.
Yeah, I think we could consider that, sure.
Because I think the number, I kind of agree with Tim, the number's big.
Yeah, we just have, every time we grant a pyramid variance where there's an existing large variance, that becomes the new standard. And the buildings just keep getting taller and taller. And even if there are other buildings on that block that are very similar, probably they're pre-existing the code.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I would just to add to this, and I did mention it, is that part of it is a factor of the terrain. I don't think if this was a flat property, this would be considered substantial, just because, for one thing, less of the existing house would be projecting from the sky plane, and considerably less of the addition would be. We were just kind of got, we just really didn't have very much choice here with the with dealing with the topography that we have.
No, I understand the problem with the topography and the narrow lot. But it's a problem that we run into, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the one impact that it has for the neighbors is that in the backyards, then they have a much taller house. It's like a 3-story house. It's a function of the grade falling down. It's unfortunate, but it just becomes a problem. It's very, very tall in the rear then.
Anybody else from the board want to speak to this?
No, other than to say, express sympathy with what you're trying to do, but I'm just trying to think creatively about how you could shrink that volume of the addition and still achieve largely what you want. But
no, I have sympathy for the architect and the applicant. in this, but we have things that we have to take into account as well that are above and beyond that. Did I already ask if there's anyone from the public who wants to speak to this? Well, I will now. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to an addition for 29 Henry Street?
I don't see anybody.
We
Okay.
do have a letter in the file there from the neighbor to the east in favor of the project.
To the east, right?
Well, that means from the side, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Is-
they were before our board last month.
yeah. Which is kind of a very different sort of application.
Yeah. We had a tough one over on Division Street around the corner. And what they did was they just, where they were adding on, it was a bedroom, wasn't it, out the back? And we had them just, move it more toward the center and reduce it. And we were able to sort of come up with a compromise that worked. They had to sort of get rid of an upstairs bathroom and, just to get down to the basics, basically. And there may be a way for you to do that somehow. I know there's going to be a lot of reshuffling upstairs, but
Yeah. Well, we can certainly, we're going to take a look at that and see what we can do there. We're taking into consideration what you folks are saying. So I think we can, we'll look at relocating the bathroom possibly, and I think that will hopefully bring things down considerably. I mean, I think that no matter what we're going to do, we're going to need some degree of sky plane variance here. Once again, just due to the nature of the topography.
Yeah, Anthony, maybe you could help us do a seat of the pants calculation on what it would all turn out to be if the land was level.
Yeah.
It would at least help us distinguish this, although we
Sure.
do have one that's actually in litigation that's also on a steeply inclined property, but at least to some others, we could make that difference. So what would be the existing pyramid intrusion and what would be the proposed one if this lot was level?
Sure. Yeah, I can at least roughly do those calculations.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's all I mean. Yeah, we would include that in a decision if we would issue a favorable.
I don't know though if it's relevant though, because the impact to the neighbors is based on the slope. Like all those houses slope back,
Right.
On that street, and so they all have the same impact in the rear.
Well, I just thought maybe if this was used as precedent for some other house in some other part of town,
Yes,
that would be a concrete way of justifying it, would be the slope of the property, especially if it was being used by a property that was on level ground.
Flat,
Comparable.
yeah.
All right, so
I can certainly get you those
we'll look
numbers.
at
Sure.
trying to redo it to reduce that pyramid and also do a calculation if the land were level. Any other thoughts or suggestions from the board?
No,
No. Okay. Joe, you got anything?
No.
No. Okay. All right, then. Could I get a motion to adjourn 29 Henry Street until our next meeting?
so moved.
A second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thanks, Anthony.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, could I get a motion to adjourn 70 Glover Street at the request of the applicant until our next meeting?
I so move.
Okay.
Second.
And just to confirm with Liz and Carrie, I think we need a revised turn down letter from the building
Yes.
inspector.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
good.
will.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. Okay. I think that's the end of our business tonight. So could I get a motion to adjourn the June 15th meeting of the Sag Harbor Board of Appeals?
So move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you, everyone.
Have a great night,
Thank you.
guys.